Welcome to Eye on Education. I'm your host, Ed Lecious. We have another informative program for you today, and we appreciate your watching. Joining me in our first segment is the coordinator of the 21st Century program here in Nashua. That program has been around for a long time, and the current coordinator has been with it since 2016. We're pleased to welcome Gail Casey. Gail, welcome to the program today.
Thank you.
Exciting times.
It
because
is.
I understand you've just been renewed.
We have been renewed. The federal funding for 21st Century programs nationally, there was some concern that there wouldn't be funding at all. New Hampshire has been really good. All of our representatives have been really good about advocating for 21st Century programs. And so they ended up getting more money federally than they had asked for. 21st Century programs this year, there are 25 in the state of New Hampshire, and we were up for renewal. So it was a little, stressful because this program's been operating now for 18 years since its conception. So we just found out May 4th that we were refunded for 5 years. So that was really good news for us. Some programs only got funded for 1 year, and then some were not funded at all. So I'm really proud of my staff team and all of the people at the Nashua School District that have helped to make sure that we are in a good position to be funded again.
Now, I believe Nashua, if not the first, was one of the first 21st Century programs in the state?
Yep. John Cepeda started it, and Nashua was the second site. So the first site was in Conway with Suzanne Birdsall. She still works for the DOE. She's left 21st Century programs about 2 years ago. And John is retired, John Cepeda, but he did a really nice job of setting up the program in a way that it would be successful. So we still talk sometimes.
I was going to say, you say John's retired, but I understand that you brought him out of retirement when you first took over.
Yes, I met with him for coffee over at Bonhoeffer's because he's just very smart, and he knows the landscape of Nashua very well. He understands the Department of Education very well, and he started 21st Century programs. And so one of the first things I did was said to myself, I need to talk to this man. So he was really good, and he's met with me a few times just to check in and talk about the vision for 21st Century programs in Nashua.
What is the 21st Century program?
So 21st Century is designed to keep students after school and support school day learning. So we have 5 full-time site coordinators in all of the 5 Title I elementary schools. So that's Ledge Street, Mount Pleasant, Fairgrounds Elementary, Amherst Street, and what's my last one? Fairgrounds, I said. Dr. Crisp. So all of those schools have full-time site coordinators, and they work with the teachers. They work with guidance counselors and social workers and everybody working with the family and the student so that during after-school time we can support their learning. The nice thing with 21st Century programs is a student may have their homeroom teacher change every year, but they're going to stay with us in after school for about 5 years. So it's a good support system for the students. And in addition to that, we see the families every day. And the way that schools work and their timing, a lot of families who are working, they won't necessarily call the school to set up a meeting unless there's something wrong. And so it allows for our site coordinators and our staff to be communicating regularly with teachers. So when they see the parents after school, they can fill them in if there's any concern or fill them in if the parent has any questions about what's going on at school.
And what determines a student's eligibility to participate in this program?
For 21st Century programs, we're open, so we don't necessarily look for specific criteria. Our target audience are students that might struggle in school, and that can come from a variety of different things. The ELL population in Nashua is pretty high, so we want ELL students in after school, but it could be something as simple as a student who's just shy. And we know that students, unless they have friends and unless they feel good in school, it's going to hurt them academically. Because they won't feel comfortable. So as soon as you make the child feel comfortable and make them feel like they're part of their school and they know the teachers and they have friends, then all of a sudden it makes learning a lot easier for students.
Approximately how many students are you serving?
About 600 a year across the 5 programs. Our average daily attendance is anywhere from 60 to 75 students during after school. We did pilot a morning tutoring program at Dr. Crisp this year, which brought our ADA up to about 90 kids a day at Dr. Crisp. So yeah, quite a bit.
And what are some of the other strengths of the program, just besides having constant contact with those students?
I think after school lends itself to being creative with our education. I think teachers, there's a lot of pressure on teachers to be teaching information to students in a very short amount of time. And not only teaching students, but teaching a variety of students that come into the classroom with different abilities and different skill sets. And they're in a timeline to prepare the student for the next grade. And after school, we don't have that same timeline. So we have some flexibility in how long we take with a student or with a group of students to help them to learn a certain skill set or a certain, whether it be math. I know we do a lot of academic goals in the program. So students we work with teachers and say, what do you want us to work on in after school? And oftentimes it's things like multiplication, so we'll do some things in after school where students work towards an academic goal like multiplication. And then once every student achieves that academic goal, then they get to choose what they want as an award. So at Fairgrounds, one of the ones I went to is they made their own ice cream because they all knew like certain times tables. But it makes learning a little bit more fun. It puts the learning in control of the student. And I think that's something that we can do in after school that the school day teachers just cannot do.
And I would imagine it's a little less structured, so the child that's perhaps will do better in that less structured situation than in the classroom
Right.
itself.
When we can tailor some things. We're
Right.
not on the same timeline. So if it takes a student a really long time, that's okay. So I think the pressure is off a little bit in after school. We've done a lot more this year to make sure that we're connecting with the teachers so that the teachers see us as a resource, especially where we see the families every night. So things like permission slips getting signed, they don't even need to go home. We can keep them in
Right there, yeah.
right here. And so we get all of that paperwork signed ideally right from 21st Century. So
What are other ways you support the teachers at the schools?
I think because we see the student in a different environment, because we can look at social skills. A lot of times, I've spoken with teachers who have said things like, there's social drama or arguments that happen on the playground, and it takes time again away from their timeline to address some of those things during class time. And so that's something I think 21st Century can do, is look at some of those social issues, even if it's this, to us it seems silly, but for a student that's a big deal. So we can work on some of those things in after school.
Is this an everyday program or a couple days a week, or how does it work?
Families can determine what they want to do. Some families only go a couple times a week. The majority of our students will come Monday through Friday. We operate the same schedule as the Nashua Public School District does. But the nice thing with the 21st Century program is we provide all of our members, all of our 21st Century students, with memberships to the Boys and Girls Club. And the reason we do that is we send 21st Century staffers over to the Boys and Girls Club, and then on early release days or on vacation weeks, the students can go to the program without having to pay additional money or do anything different. So we're able to provide additional program hours that way.
I'd imagine that's a vital partnership, Boys and Girls Club.
Oh yeah, they're our co-applicant on the actual federal grant, and they have been since the beginning. A lot of the goals and the ways that we operate in after school are very similar to the ways that the Boys and Girls Club operates as well. So we collaborate very often.
Well, we talked before coming on the air. You've made the complete circle,
Yeah.
because you are a Boys and Girls Club member.
Yep.
And a Boys and Girls Club employee.
Yep.
And so now you're connected that way, but you're also connected because, for those who may not know who are watching us today, your dad is Kurt Norris.
Yes, my dad is Kurt Norris, and so my grandfather was the first president of the board, Don Norris, back in '67. And so it's really just, I can't get away,
You've grown up with it.
I have grown up with youth. I think of it as youth development. I did go to school to be a teacher, because I think education is really important if we want to really move the needle for a lot of our kids that struggle. But I couldn't be in a classroom. I need to be out in the community, doing different things. So I'm really liking that I can do a little bit of everything that I love, youth development as well as education. So, and in Nashua, this is like my favorite
Win,
place.
win, win.
That's right.
Now summer's coming,
Yes,
they
summer
say.
is coming.
The weather hasn't quite caught up with it yet, but summer is coming. What do you do for the students in the summertime? Do you have a summer program?
Yep, we've always had a summer program, and similarly to what we do in after school, we take the students after summer school. Summer school programs typically operated Monday through Thursday, and they would go until about 12:30, and we would take the students all day on Friday, and then we'd take them again from 12:30 until early afternoon. And again, same kind of idea. Ideally, we would be supporting what was happening during summer school. So this year is a little different. We've spent a lot of time with the new leadership, our new superintendents, Garth and Donna and Dr. Mosley. And we sort of took a look at what was happening. They started in the summer months, and so the first thing that they saw when they came on board was all of the summer programs. And a lot of the work that was done to prepare those summer programs actually came through the 21st Century office. So that's how 21st Century kind of got involved in a lot of this, was that we were handling a lot of registrations, all of the billing, payments, family, calls, because a lot of that work was being done by teachers, and teachers can't do all that in the middle of the day. So we were very involved with summer programs throughout, 21st Century's existence. And then when the superintendents came on and they started asking some questions about what was going on, I think the idea was we wanted to consolidate the resources in the district. So there were 20, I think the last count I heard was 24 different summer school programs happening. And when we looked at what was working, it was really hard to do that because nobody was measuring anything. And so in 21st Century, we want to support school day learning. And it's difficult to do that when there's all these different kinds of programs happening. And I think the work was good work. It was just difficult to measure and to see, what was effective, and to make sure that the students who needed academic support were getting that service.
Now, you mentioned earlier in the interview that the teachers kind of give you some insight into the area of need that needs a little work for the student. How does it work in the summertime? Are the teachers still involved, or do they kind of leave you a sheet saying, Johnny or Susie need to work on A, B, and C during the summer?
Well, this year we decided, because we changed, the summer program changed so drastically, right? Parents were advocating for their children. They would fill out forms, they would pay money. And so this year, where we were really changing a lot of things, we asked for teachers to go back to referring students. So we said to teachers, this is your opportunity to say, these kids with a little bit extra could be on grade level. And so a lot of teachers took that to mean, this is my opportunity to get students ready for the next grade. And we asked for a lot of detailed information about their behavior or what they might specifically need help with. And a lot of teachers wrote things like they need help making friends, and I thought, well, we can work on that. So the teachers have been very involved in making sure that students are referred to the program that would benefit from 5 weeks additional school in the summer.
And your program starts immediately at the end of school, or is there a little break in between?
There's a little break. The 4th of July falls on a Wednesday this year, which is, kind of a headache for all the people who do this line of work. But so we've made the decision to begin July 9th, and it will go 5 weeks through August 10th. And 21st Century staff have been very involved. So, one of the things that we do is try to make sure that staff are very familiar with curriculum. So all of the 21st Century staff have been very involved in understand the Power Scholars curriculum, which is one of the 24 programs that was run, that was measured. So that's how Power Scholars came to be. The YMCA, Joe Manzoli had been operating a program, a smaller version of a program for first graders, and the results were really impressive. Each year, their academic gain was like 2 to 2.5 months. And so if you're trying to move the needle for students who aren't doing well academically, it's a smart way to go, because it's obviously worked for 3 years. So,
for folks who are watching us today, Gail, how can they learn more about the program?
About 21st Century?
Yes.
I think the first thing to know is that we don't operate in every school. Oftentimes we'll have families ask if they can, if we can offer the program at their school. We only operate in the Title I schools. We do have some families that will drive their child after school to a Title I school so they can participate. You're welcome to do that. But I think the best way is to contact the site coordinator of that particular school, where they're full-time. They'll be available to you if you wanted to register your child.
Well, we appreciate the insight you've given us. Congratulations on getting renewed for 5 years, and good luck going forward.
Thank you so much.
We've been talking to Gail Casey of the 21st Century Program in our first segment here today. When we come back, we'll be talking with Joe Manzoli and Jen Hoskins about summer programs at the Y and the National Public Library. You're watching eYe on Education.
Ready to rock? Well, let's make some noise. Yo, it's the spot for the girls and boys. The library make your mind very powerful. Hours full of entertainment, devour education. That's how you get to change the world while you learn about it. You're a rock star full of superpower music. Now it's ready or not. Yo, let's make some noise. Libraries rock for the girls and boys.
Join the fun at your local library's summer reading program.
Today's program, we're talking about summer programs that are being run in the City of Nashua between the various organizations and the Nashua School District. And joining us now, we have the Chief Operating Officer for the YMCA in Nashua, Joe Manzoli, and Assistant Director at the Nashua Public Library, Jen Hoskins. Welcome back to the program.
Good.
Appreciate you both being here. Now, in the first segment, Gail alluded to a program that the Y had started, and now you're going to be collaborating with the 21st Century Program, Joe. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about that.
Sure, we're really excited about this. So 3 years ago, we started what we call the Summer Learning Loss Prevention Program. And the reason for that program is that research shows that students from lower income neighborhoods generally fall behind by 2.5 months in reading and math from their peers. And that's cumulative. So they come back to school 2.5 months behind their peers, and that happens each summer. And gets to a point that by the time they hit middle school and high school, they're so far behind, it's hard to catch up. And so we started this program on a small scale with first and second graders, focused just on literacy, and saw remarkable results. We had students who came in reading at a kindergarten grade level, and when they left, they were reading almost at a second grade level. So as Gail shared with you, the school district was looking at their summer programming and seeing what worked and what needed to be tweaked and trying to consolidate efforts. And through those conversations, we came across the Power Scholars Academy, which is a national program from the YMCA that introduces math into that literacy component and has the same results. So those students in other parts of the country that have gone through this program have seen an increase in their reading and their math during the 5-week program. It's a full day program, so we're excited to be able to offer that to families. And it's a mix of the math and reading component in the morning and enrichment in the afternoon. So the kids are going to have a lot of fun. They're also going to see increases in their math and reading throughout the summer.
Do you do this right over at the Y?
We're actually going to run it in the schools. We want the kids to see their school as a part of their community. So they'll go to the schools. So we're going to run for elementary school students at Amherst Street and Fairgrounds Elementary. Students will be bused from around the city to those two schools. And then we're going to run a program for middle school students, but we're actually going to run it at Nashua South. The reason for that is that as we looked at all the things that we can do in the summertime, one of the things that was important to us and Dr. Mosley was the kids who didn't know how to swim learned how to swim. And so those two elementary schools are right near city pools. Yeah. And for the middle school program, we ran it at South so that we can walk the kids over to the Y so they can get some swimming time. And for those who need to learn to swim, they'll get swim lessons as well.
How many years has the Y been doing this?
So our YMCA, this will be our 4th summer running summer learning loss prevention programming. The YMCA nationally has been doing this for probably about 15 years in different communities. There's 2,100 YMCAs in the country, and so there's some economies of scale as we learn. So this program was started at a local Y in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they started to see results. And so the Y worked with them to scale it at other YMCAs to see if the program would continue to work. And so they've maintained fidelity to the program, so that we're working now with the school district on ensuring that we're hiring the right staff, we're bringing in the curriculum that we're going to remain faithful to, so that the results will show up over the summer.
Now, this isn't a program that folks would tie into being associated with the YMCA.
Sure.
YMCA is other things, but it's also this.
Well, the Y is so much more than what you think
It's not
it is,
your
right?
grandfather's Y or your grandmother's Y anymore,
Sure.
is it?
We think of the Y as a place to go swimming, play basketball, and we do those things well. But we've always, since our founding 160 years ago, have been in the business of nurturing the potential of kids, and that's taken different tracks over the years. We were the first organization to start summer camping. We started swim lessons. We invented the sport of basketball. And as we've grown, we meet community need. And there's a great need here. The schools are doing amazing work during the school year, but we see that some of those students aren't getting the support in the summer, right? Many families will make sure their kids are reading throughout the summer. They'll make sure that they're getting different experiences throughout the summer, but not every family can do that. And so the eYe and other community partners have seen that we can fill that gap and partner with each other and partner with the school district. And it's one of the beautiful things about Nashua is that we all play very well together. We've got great relationships with all the other agencies in the city, and we don't see that in other communities all the time. But here in Nashua, it's pretty special, and so we've come together to see how we can work together to really make an impact on kids this summer.
Well, I think that was exemplified when they had the major building program for the new facility. They raised the money in a shorter period of time than anticipated, and it's because of the product that the eYe has been putting out consistently since being here in Nashua. Is this the first eYe, or do you know, is this the first eYe to collaborate with a school district?
No.
Or have others done similar things?
Others have done similar things. I think in order to run this type of program, you need that partnership with the school district. And we've partnered with the Nashua School District and other local school districts in different capacities throughout the year. We've run some pretty unique programs in various communities. This is pretty unique though, because of the nature of the program. It's not just a recreational program. So a lot of times, you know, again, you might think of the eYe or other organizations like us as running summer camps. We run summer camps all throughout the area, Camp Sargent and Merrimack, and we've got programs at the Nashua eYe and the Merrimack eYe. But to partner with the school district like this, to run the program in the school district, to partner with 21st Century, to partner with others in the school district and others in the community, I think to some degree our program is a little unique to others from others around the country because of the way we're really coming together, and this is really going to be the school district summer school program. It's not in addition to a summer school program, this will be the summer school program.
The library has always had some type of a summer program, Jen. I mean, going back 100 years ago when I was in school, I can remember going to the old Hunt building and downstairs in the children's room, and there was a summer reading program, and for every book you read, you got a star on your chart, and you got rewarded at the end of the summer when you went back to school and you brought your paper in. And so there's always been something, but what's being done this year? How has it been enhanced, and how is the collaboration tie-in?
Yes, thank you for asking. The library has had summer reading programs for many, many years. It's very different today than it was back when you were going to the Hunt building. Traditionally, it was a children's summer reading program. Over the years, we expanded that to include a teen summer reading program. A few years ago, we added additional programs for adults. And this year, what we've done is we've really looked at what are the community goals and how can we be a key player in that. Over the summer, when the school doors close, the library is where a lot of the students come. As Gail and Joe both mentioned, there are so many programs in Nashua working on literacy and enrichment activities, and we're there as well, whether it's during the school day or in the evening or on weekends. So we really looked at what are people doing, how can we be part of it, and how can we best support our students over the summer. And we've done a few things. We're really this year targeting family literacy and accessibility of our program. So we have added a birth to 3-year-old program as well. So now there's reading programs for all ages. And we're really focusing on that relationship of families reading together, whether that might be parents reading to their itty-bitty ones, or whether it's students reading to younger brothers and sisters, or reading to pets, or listening to each other. It all counts. And families that read together, they are able to count their participation for multiple programs. So if the parent's reading to a child, they can log their minutes for that child as well as for the parent. If an older brother and sister is reading to a younger brother and sister, that counts for both of them. In terms of accessibility, we've tried to work with community partners more on getting out into neighborhoods and at community events. So we're not expecting students to have to come to the library. We know there's a lot that do, but not everyone can in the summer.
In addition to the reading program, there are a number of other programs that the library runs during the summer. Are those going to continue as well?
They are. So our reading program has multiple components. We have reading where participants can read anything they want, whether it's listening to an audiobook, reading a book or a magazine or an ebook. Also, we have enrichment activities. So every week we have a program for all ages, whether it's the pre-K to grade 5 or the teen program or adults. We also have challenges, so students can earn incentives and prizes through other methods, whether it's writing song lyrics or doing a math program or attending an event. And we really worked with, this year, community partners to come up with ideas and integrate goals that they have as well. So for instance, Dr. McKinney from the Nashua School District worked with us to share what are some of the district goals that they're working on with students that they really hope will contribute towards getting everyone reading at grade level. So we tried to incorporate math activities, reading informational text, and really just reading every day. So as part of the reading program, they record minutes they've read, whether it's 10 minutes in one sitting or 20 minutes in one sitting. They just make a note of what they've read and record it, and then they can earn prizes when they've reached different levels of achievement.
Now, this is going to be a 5-week program?
We run from June 23rd when school gets out until August 18th. We have programs every week. We have a big kickoff event on June 23rd at the library for all ages. That's another way that we've tried to group the family activities together is we, in addition to planning programs for each age group, we've planned multiple all-age activities. We're also going out to the community center, and so on Tuesdays we have our programs at the library, and then on Wednesdays we will have the same or similar program for people at the Arlington Community Center, so that hopefully it's more accessible to them and that they can get involved.
And then a week after you wrap that all up, you host the Nashua Goes Back to School
That's right.
event at the library.
Summer is one of our busiest times, but we love it. Our staff has worked very hard. They're actually working very hard right now. Our children's and teen staff are out presenting to every 3rd, 4th, and 5th grader in the elementary schools, letting them know about this program, letting them know how they can participate, where they can participate. And then we've had a couple of family concerts. Our next one is coming up on June 2nd, where we're inviting families with younger children to come and learn about the program and how they can register and get involved.
So in addition to going out to the schools, because Joe's got a built-in audience already, what are you going to do to encourage participation by families, especially the kids when, you know, school's out, sun's shining, hopefully. What's the key to getting them involved?
Well, there's a couple of different things. We have lots of fun programs where we invite them to come. We're going to be doing some pop-up libraries throughout the community at community events and different neighborhoods where we will come to them with all of our resources so they can come and tell us what they've been reading, what they've been doing. We're working with parents to let them know what's going on, and the school district has been instrumental. So we've had a very strong partnership this year with their communication out to parents as well through e-news and allowing us to come in and present to students. A lot of cross-promotion. As Joe said, Nashua, I think, is one of the best cities for community partnerships and working together and really supporting each other when what we're really trying to do is just provide the best services for our residents.
Joe, any final thoughts on getting the message out to folks who may be watching today?
People will find their way. I think, it just struck me as Jen was speaking and listening to Gail earlier, really all this is about getting more positive adults in kids' lives, right? Kids have their parents, they have their teachers, and at the library, 21st Century, the Boys and Girls Club, the Y, at the end of the day, that's really what all of this is about. If we can get more caring adults in the lives of kids, those kids are going to be more successful. So I'm really excited to hear all that Jen was just talking about.
Well, it certainly sounds like between the three programs we've had talked about here today, that there's going to be ample opportunity for the students as well as the parents and the complete family unit to become engaged in one of these programs this summer, and that can only benefit everyone going forward. And thank you both for being with us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Joe Manzoli, the Chief Operating Officer for the Nashua YMCA, and Jen Hosking, Assistant Director of the Nashua Public Library. And earlier, we were pleased to have with us Gail Casey, who is the coordinator for the 21st Century program here in the City of Nashua. You've been watching eYe on Education. I'm Ed Leicius. Thanks for watching. Have a safe summer.